Hello everyone, this is Suresh from Azure ADB. Today our topic is one of the unit test case, like how to check if the column is available in schema or not. So suppose I have a data set like this. So I have one CSV file in my catalog location. I am reading this file and if you see, I have this many columns and data looks like this. And parallelly, I try to print columns, df.columns. So either you can check here the list of columns or by using df.columns, you can see here this list of columns. So now what it means is, so suppose randomly I will pick some column. So I want to check whether that column is available in this particular data frame schema or not. So that means in this list of columns. So that how we can check that. So my first scenario is check if a single table exists using in operator. So that means first I'm trying for single column. So how I'm checking is, so randomly I picked some column name. So I given in single quote and by using in operator, I am checking in df.columns. So df.columns means this list of columns. So it will check whether this column is available in this list of columns or not. If you see here, this column is available here. So since it is available, it will give you output like Boolean value. So either true or false. Since it is available, it returning as true. Suppose I am trying for region column. So region in df.columns. If you see here, I don't have this column region in this list of columns. So it is returning as false. So similar way, I'm checking one more column that is country. And if you see here, we don't have any column like country in this list of column. So that's why it's returning as false. So similar way, sales underscore organization underscore ID. So this also column is not available in this list of columns. So it returning as false. So this is a direct method. It will give you Boolean operation, either true or false. So next I want to improve something like by using if else condition. So I want to print like if column is available, I want to print like this. If it is not available, I want to print like this. So what I did is the same condition source underscore target. This is the column name in df.columns. So it will check whether this column is available in this list of columns. So source underscore target. So we have this column source underscore target. So since it is available, what it will give you output up to here is it will give true. Since it is true, it stays in if condition and it will print you like column source underscore target is available in df. See here, it returning same way like column is available. So similar way, same condition, I am checking for one more column, sales underscore ID. And if you see here, we don't have sales underscore ID column in this list of columns. So then, since it is not available, it will return as false. So up to here, it will return as false. Since it is false, it will come to else condition. Then it will print column sales underscore ID is not available in df. So the simplest method is using the in operator on df.columns. So df.columns returns a list of columns like this. So similar like this. So starting and ending square brackets, that is list of columns. So the in operator checks if your column name is in that list or not. So this particular column, it will check by using in operator in our list of columns available or not. So whatever we discussed, same thing I written here. So next, I'm trying for multiple columns. So here condition is check if multiple columns exist or not. So for this, what I'm doing, I'm creating one variable with a list of columns. So here I defined some 3 columns. So I want to check whether these 3 columns are available in this list of columns or not. So for this, what I did is, so first I'm iterating this list of columns, and while iterating, what I'm doing here is call in df.columns. So earlier we discussed, no? So call in df.columns. So here call means what will happen. First, it will take this region column. So region in df.columns. So we already saw this region is not available in this list of columns. So what will happen? This whole thing, will return as false. So that means call in df.columns, it will return as false. So all condition, what it does is it also returns false. So same thing I explained here. So call in df.columns. So up to here, this match. So it returns true if that column exists. Otherwise, it will return false. So since this region column is not available, it will return false. So parallelly, so I told for only one column. So actually what it does is, now we discuss for region column. So for region column, it returns false. So that means we got one false. So list and one false we got. So next what it does is, next it will check for country. So since it is iterating, no, so country in df.columns. So we don't have column country here. So that means this also false. So that means this also false. So here we'll get one more false here. So next it will check for this particular column, sales underscore organization underscore ID in df.columns. So this also we don't have in this particular list. So total it giving you output as all 3 false. So all operator, what it does is all operator. So if all conditions are false, it will give you, it will return as false. So suppose if all true conditions are there, then it will return as true. Suppose if it is mixed result like false, true, false, then also it will return false. Only when all conditions are true, then only it will return as true. So since all 3 columns are not available and it giving output as all 3 as false, then this all operator getting output as false. So same thing is mentioned here, call in df.columns. So it returns true. So if that particular column exists, otherwise false. So all operator, so it returns true only if all the conditions inside are true. So that means here, suppose if you got all 3 columns as true, then it will return as true. This all condition will return as true. So next column underscore exist equal to true. So here call this variable when it will get true is if all required column exist in the data frame. So that means all we should get true. So then only we'll get this output as true. So column underscore exist equal to false if any one of the column is missing. So since we have all 3 columns are missed, it giving false. So what is this condition is, what they mentioned is if any one of the column is missing. So that means first column is false, then second column is true, then third column is false. So then this condition also it will return as false. Or one more scenario like true, first two are true, then third one is false, then this also it will return as false. Okay, so that is the meaning of all operator. So next what I'm trying here is, so here I'm adding if else condition. So in if condition, I'm keeping same line of code here, what we discussed earlier. So if this condition satisfies, what it gives is all required columns exist in the data frame. In else condition, I given one more list comprehension. So what it meaning is, it will print you missing columns. Okay, so now we'll see for this list of columns. So first what we'll do, product underscore URL. So product underscore URL in df.columns. So it will check whether it is available or not. So since product underscore URL is available, then it print as true. So list, first condition is true. Okay, so next product underscore ID. So it will check in this list of columns. So product underscore ID also available. So then this is true. So next it will check for other column, session underscore name. So session underscore name also available. So then it will print true. So since all columns are available and since we are getting all three as true, then what this all condition does is get output as true. So that means if condition is satisfying, then what it print is all required columns exist in the data frame. Okay, so next we'll see one more set of columns. So region, country, sales underscore organization ID. So this condition, up to here, this condition we already discussed. So these all three columns are not available in our list. So that means list of all three as false. Then all operator will give you output as false. Since this is false, then it will come to else condition. So in else condition, what it does is missing columns. So we are getting missing columns and missing. So what is this missing? So this missing, it is defined this list comprehension. So what it given is call for call in required columns. So that means this one. So these three columns, it will iterate one by one. And here filter condition is given. If call, so suppose if you take first column, so if region not in df.columns. So we know that region is not available in this column, in this list of columns. Okay, so we know that already checked these three columns are not available in this list of columns. So first it checked a region, so region not in. So that means what it means? It is false. Okay, so since it is not available, so this region column it will print here. So that is missing column. Next it will come country. So if country not in df.columns. So country is not available, then it will come under missing columns. So similar way, this column, if this column not in df.columns. So since it is not available, it will print in missing column list. Okay. So next we'll see few more set of columns. So here region, country, session underscore name. So this everything same, coding is same. So here what it does is first it will go to this condition. So region and country we know already, like these two columns are not available in that list. So what will happen? So first two are false. So first two are false. Next session underscore name. So we already checked that session underscore name is available in this list of columns. then true. But all condition, what it does is you should have all true condition, then only it will print as true. But we have two false here, then all condition will print as false. So since this condition is false, it will come to this condition. So here what it does is missing columns. So missing columns, what is that? Missing is this one, list comprehension. So here it will iterate these required columns one by one. So first it will take region. So if region not in df.columns. So we know that these two columns not available. So since region is not in this list of columns, so it will print in missing column list. Similar way, country. So if country not in df.columns. So since this is not there, it will come in missing columns list. Next, it will come for session underscore name. So if session underscore name not in df.columns. So since this column is not available, so it won't print here. So same thing I explained here. So if condition all, so df.columns means it returns a list of all column names. Okay, so like example, like this list of columns. Then column call in df.columns. It checks whether each column name from required underscore columns is present in that list or not. And all function it returns true as we discussed here. So this condition, so same thing mentioned here. When it will return true, if every required column is present. So that means all should be true. So like this, all should be true. When it will give false, if any column is missing. So either all three is false or either two false or single false. Okay, so like this. So for any of the single false condition, it will give you false. Okay, so next else condition. So this we already discussed. So it create a new list called missing. So it collects all columns from the required underscore columns that are not found in df.columns. Okay, so whatever I explained, so I written here. So next, what we are doing is, so here I mentioned list of columns. So columns to check. So this many columns I written here. So what I want to do now is these columns I want to check in df.columns. So that means in this list of columns. So I want to check one by one column. One by one column I want to iterate and check whether these columns are there or they're not in this list of columns. So same thing I mentioned here, list all columns from columns to check. So that means these that are not present in df.columns. So whatever I mentioned here, list of columns, in this, how many columns are not there in this list of columns? So for that, what I did, call for call in columns to check. So that means in this list of column, one by one, each and every column, it will iterate. It will iterate one by one, and if condition is given. So if call not in df.columns. So first it will come object ID. So if object ID not in df.columns. So if you check here, object ID, we don't have. So that means not in. Not in means it is satisfied true. So since it is true, it will print here object ID. So next it will check for ID. So if ID not in df.columns. So we don't have ID column in this. So then it will print ID also. So next it will come for name. Name, date, we'll check together. So we don't have name and date in this list of columns. So it will print both name and date. Next, contract underscore source, currency underscore code. So contract underscore source, currency underscore source. So these two columns also we don't have. So these two also printing here. Next, refunded amount. So if you see here, we don't have that particular column in this list. So then that also print here. Next, if you come here, from here to here to here, these all columns available in df.columns. So that means same columns I mentioned here. So you can cross verify. So start underscore date, product underscore URL, category, default group, source target, cloud platform. See here, cloud platform, session ID, session name, and status name, status type, sessions product ID, load underscore date time. So whatever I highlighted, these columns are there in list of columns. So that means this not in condition, it not satisfying. So whichever conditions are satisfying, only those columns are printing here. So that means in this particular list, so these are all the columns not there in df.columns. So next we'll see one more scenario using data frame schema. If you need to inspect data types. So as of now, we saw columns, how to check columns. Now we wanted to check data types. So for this, if you want to verify column names and their data types, use df.schema.fields. So if you want to check together column names and data types, then you can use this option. So on this particular topic, df.schema.fields, I already made one video, in detail video. So I recommend to watch that video first, then you can able to understand this one easily. So this is useful when you are working with nested or complex schemas. So here what I given is if else condition. So here also I given any. So here what is the condition is field dot name equal to category for field in df.schema.fields. So df.schema.fields means, so for this particular data frame, it will print you all struct type schema. So I'll try to modify the code. So here I try to print this one. So df.schema.fields. So what we'll get is this list of struct fields we get. So that means, so in struct field, each struct field. So this is the column name, this is the data type, and this is whether this is nullable or not. So for each and every column, it defined here 3 parameters mainly. So column, data type, and whether it is nullable or not. So now what it does is for field in df.schema.fields means it will iterate each and every field. So that means first field is this one. So this meaning is this one. So from this, what it trying is field dot name. So field dot name is this one, column name. So field dot data type means this one, data type. Field dot nullable means this one, true. So since here I mentioned field dot name, that means column name. So what is the column name? Start underscore date. So whether start underscore date is equal to category? No. So this is false. Okay, so first one is false. Next it will go for second struct type. So here, since it is for loop, no, then it will come here. So here field dot name is this one, product underscore URL. It is matching? No. So this also false. Next it will come to third one. So this one here field dot name is category. So category is equal to category. So this is true. So since this is true, Since it's true, what it doing is this any, it giving output as true. That means if condition is satisfied, it printing as column category is available in df.schema.fields. Okay, so similar way, now I want to check multiple columns. So here I mentioned the list of columns. So here what I'm doing is for column in columns to check. So now what will happen? So first it will iterate status underscore name. So now this column is status underscore name. So same thing it will iterate any condition field dot name. So it will check field dot name that means column name status underscore name. So it will check one by one. It will iterate one by one field and it will check is there any matching column name called status underscore name. So we have status underscore name. Okay. So it will check one by one. First it will check this one, next to this one, next to this. So one by one it will check. And at this point, we have matching column name. So since it is matching here, then it will print. So column status name is available in df.schema. So next it will come to status type. In second iteration, it will come to status type. So again, it will check all the things. So one by one, it will check. So one by one field, it will check. And finally, we have status underscore type is available. So since that is available, so what it will print column and here column name is this one, status underscore type is available in df.schema. So next scenario is, so here I defined multiple columns, number of columns. So first what I given is schema field names. So that means field dot name. So field dot name means what it does is, so field in for field in df.schema.fields. So that means this one. So in this, first it will go for this one, this whole thing. In this, it will check field dot name is start underscore date. So whether that is matching field dot name. So field dot name, it will check whether it is matching or not. So since what it given is field dot name for field in df.schema.fields. So what it does is field dot name is all the column names it will print here in the name of list schema dot field dot names. So if you see here schema field names. So first it will print all the column names. Then these column names I will try to print here for easy understanding. So see here, so it printing all the list of columns. So from this whole thing, so it printing all these column names. All these column names it extracting. So now we'll get more clarity. So schema field names. So it will print all column names here. So next condition, what is next condition is this schema field names I am passing here. So that means call for call in columns to check. So these columns will iterate one by one. And since I given if condition, if suppose object ID, if object ID not in schema field names. So object ID, no, so it will check here. So object ID we don't have. Since we don't have non-available columns, so here I printed. So what will happen? So it will print in this list. See here, list all columns from column to check that are not present in df.columns. So that is this one. So here what will happen in the form of list, here it will print all the which are all the columns not available in df.schema. So first we checked object ID. So object ID not in this list. So it printed here. So next it will go for ID. So we'll check this all three together. ID, name, date. See here, ID, date, name. We don't have. We don't have in this list of columns. So then ID, name, date also printed. And similar way, these three also. So if you see these three also not available in that list of column. So it printed this. And from here start underscore date to here. So these things are available here. Since these things are available, it not printing here. So this point we already discussed. So next, okay, so next what I printed df.schema.fields. So this thing, see I printed above, no? So same thing I printed here, schema.fields. See df.schema.fields, this list. So this same thing I printed here also, df.schema.fields. So same thing it printed here. So now what I'm doing is I'm giving if condition field.name is equal to sales underscore organization ID for field in df.schema.fields. So we have this now schema.fields. In this, it will check field.name. So field.name is column name. So whether any of the column is equal to sales underscore organization ID. Since we already checked that this particular column is not available in this list. So that means it is false. Since it is false, it will print. So column sales underscore organization ID is not available in table schema. Okay. So here you can try for some existing column. So that it will print. So column is available. Oh, sorry, I told this one, no? So not. So since it is false, it will come to else condition, then it will print this one, like not available in table schema. So next we'll see one more scenario. So here what I tried is I tried to create function here. So here I created one function, check underscore columns. So here I'm passing df and calls, list of columns I'm passing here. So a given title as missing. So in list comprehension mentioned call for call in calls, call for call in calls. So these calls I am passing through function. So this function I am calling here, check underscore columns df. So whatever I read df initially, that data frame name is df and calls. Calls means list of columns. So list of columns I'm mentioning here. So there are two columns, region and sales organization ID. So that is this one, this calls. So call for call in calls. So that means these list of columns, these two columns, it will iterate one by one. Then if condition is given, if call. So first column is region. So if region not in df.columns. So since we don't have region, so it will give you false. It will give you false. So now missing is false. That means here if condition, since missing is false, where it will come to here. So what will print? Sorry, first this column completed, no, region is completed. Next, in next iteration, it will come for this column, sales organization ID. So if sales organization ID not in df.columns. So we don't have this column in this, so this also false. So since this also false, what will happen? So here it mentioning missing columns. Okay, so this one missing. So this missing, it printing here. Okay, so suppose if all the columns are present, if all the columns are present, then it will print all columns are present, this one. So next scenario is check and safely select only existing columns. Suppose if you're not sure all columns exist and want to select only valid ones. So here what I'm doing, call for call in I'm mentioning list. So that means these 4 columns, it will iterate one by one. So I given filter condition if first it will check for region, if region in df.columns. So we already know that region and invalid calls. So these 2 calls not available in this df.columns. So first region, no, since it is not available, it is false. Then it will ignore. Then it comes to sessions. So we have column here, sessions. So we have column here, sessions. So since this column is available, then it will pick this particular column, sessions. Okay, so next invalid columns we don't have. Next status underscore type. So we have this status underscore type also. So then it will select these 2 columns, sessions and so sessions and status type. So this list comprehension will give you list of 2 columns. This output is list of 2 columns. One is sessions and status type. So that safe underscore columns I am passing here. So df.select star safe underscore calls. So that means sessions and status type. So since out of 4 columns, only these 2 columns are available in that list of columns. So it printing data frame of these 2 columns. Okay, so what is the summary? So if your task is to check one column, then best method is this one. So simple and fast. So call in df.columns. So it will give you simple whether true or false. So if you are going to check multiple columns, then use this condition all. So call in df.columns for call in calls. So this is for detecting missing columns. Suppose if your intention to check with the schema info, then you can use this one. So instead of call, you can use this one. Field.name is equal to call for field in df.schema.fields. So either you can use df.call columns or df.schema.fields. So if you are using this df.schema.fields, you should write the field.name. If you are using df.columns, then use call. So next, if you want to automatically skip missing columns, then use this filter condition. In list comprehension, use filter condition. C for C in calls if C in df dot columns. This is a safe method. Okay, so this is the summary of how to check if a column is available in the list of columns. So that's all about this video. If you really like this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you.